Hi, everybody. This is Mark Graban from KaiNexus. We're joined again in our podcast by Clint Corley. Clint, how are you?
I'm good, Mark, and you?
Doing great. Good to talk to you and follow up on, if people remember the earlier series about what would you say you do here back February 20th, 2019. Clint was part of that. So if you haven't heard that one, you can scroll back in your list of episodes. But this is our series talking to people about why they joined KaiNexus. So with that, Clint, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks again for having me, Mark. For those who have not heard the previous February podcast, I work on the sales side of our house, to make that long story short. I joined KaiNexus in large part because of who I was going to be working for. I had a personal connection that introduced me to Jeff Roussel, who's our vice president of sales, and had a lot of great things to say about Jeff, who he was as a person, who he was as a leader. I had another personal connection who I actually went to college with that worked for Jeff at a previous organization as well. And so I got the opportunity to speak with him about my would-be manager and would-be boss at the time.
Yeah.
That to me was incredibly important. It was something that I place a lot of value on and still place a lot of value in. And I always had this inkling or this thought in the back of my mind that if the opportunity at KaiNexus presented itself, that I would take a very, very hard and serious look at it. So that's what got me really into the interview process and introduced to people. The more people that I talked to, the more I realized this was something that I wanted to be a part of. And for all intents and purposes, I was right. I'm coming up on 3 years here now. It's been a great experience. I'm hopeful that I don't have to go anywhere else anytime soon. But I think that management and the person that you work for is a big thing for me. What's the adage? People don't leave companies; they leave managers. I think that's true.
Yeah, I've heard that. You made me think of that and you said it, but I've also heard it expressed as when someone complains about company culture, they're often complaining about their manager because the person you're directly reporting to, for better or for worse, it has such an influence on your day to day and whether you're feeling happy or whether or not you've got a leader. Hopefully you have a leader who's helping you succeed. And I've never directly reported to Jeff, but I agree with your assessment that he seems like a great guy to work for.
Yeah. I mean, look, culture is the collective behaviors and actions of the employees of an organization or the employees of a group. And an individual's perspective on that culture is their day-to-day interaction with people. And the truth of the matter is, if you have poor day-to-day interactions with people, your perception is that the culture of the organization is poor and not something that you want to be a part of. So I agree with you, Mark, on the culture aspect there.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the other factors, and maybe this is not even limited to KaiNexus, but if you can talk about why do you work in software sales?
Yeah, great question. There's a lot that goes into that. I think at a surface level, it's a very exciting industry to work in. There is a new challenge every day that you got to solve. I get the opportunity to interact with people, which I love. I know there's a lot of people that, hey, put me in a room and lock the door and don't talk to me. I am the opposite end of that spectrum.
Yeah,
that's a big part of it as well. I think from the business side, it's an industry that only has growth potential. I don't think that it is a volatile industry by any stretch of the imagination. I've worked in the oil and gas business previously, which
volatile.
is one of the most potentially in the world, I would say, at least based on my experience. So I think that's a part of it. I don't think technology is going anywhere. I think that the way that we've built our business model at KaiNexus and being a little bit of a different style startup and not kind of be in that Silicon Valley venture capital backed money coming out of our ears environment has been incredibly refreshing here. And sky's the limit for the industry and for KaiNexus too.
Yeah. I mean, can you elaborate on that a little bit of what when you talk about being a different style of company? what's appealing, or how could you just say more about those differences?
Yeah, so I think the glaring example right now, just current state of affairs, is companies like Uber, and the most recent one is companies like WeWork. They have these incredibly high top line revenue numbers and these massive rates of growth, but the truth is that they're backed by venture capital and they're backed by cash, and they have a high growth model, and they lose money quarter over quarter for their entirety until they go public, which is what Uber just did and what WeWork is getting ready to do, right?
Yeah.
We've not taken that route. We have built a business that is sustainable. We have built a business that allows us to focus on our people and our customers and not on our investors. It allows us to serve those people in a more effective way, in a more meaningful way. And we don't have to worry about somebody else's cash drying up just so that we can keep the doors on and keep the lights open. And so we talk about this with potential customers all the time. We are not a Silicon Valley startup. We are a small business that just so happens to be in the software space. Mm-hmm. And that's powerful to me. That means something to me.
Yeah, we've talked sometimes about, do we still describe KaiNexus as quote unquote a startup, or is it a small high growth company? And there's I don't know if those labels are meaningful, but I see your point about not having that dysfunctional, sometimes that Silicon Valley dysfunctional pressure to grow at all costs in ways that can end up causing problems. We for the listeners' benefit, we do have investors, and we appreciate that, but they're long-term focused investors, and I think that allows Greg and Matt as the co-founders and Jeff and others to take a longer-term focus. It's not about outrageous, arbitrary quarterly targets, like you said. It's about serving customers and building something that grows sustainably.
Yeah, agreed. And by no means is that a knock on other software organizations or other tech startups that haven't taken the avenue that we have. I think it's just personally for me, this is something that is more in line with what I want to be a part of and what I want to do long term. Mm-hmm. So again, that's something that was important to me and has become increasingly more important to me as time has gone on.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, today our guest again has been Clint Corley, talking about why he joined KaiNexus. Any further thoughts? Anything you want to add before we wrap up?
No, Mark, thanks for taking the time with me today. Always enjoy speaking with you, and hope we get to do another one of these pretty soon.
Yeah, and we will see you. Let's make a plug for KaiNexus customers who are listening. KaiNexicon is coming up September 24th and 25th with an optional day on the 26th. Do I have that right?
That is correct. KaiNexicon, September 24th and 25th at the Westin here in Austin, Texas. Optional training session with the one and only Ryan Rippey the coming Thursday, which is September the 26th. Be there or be square, as they used to say.
It's a very square way of putting it, Clint. Well done. All right. Well, I look forward to that. It's always great seeing our customers. It'll be good having a chance to hang out with you again.
Yep, indeed.
All right. See ya.
Bye.